Makers. I thought I'd pop in today and talk to you a little bit about this very quick Easter table favor that I made using Stampers Anonymous stamps. So you can use any background stamp that you want. I decided I wanted to use the plaid from the Lumberjack CMS384 set. But again, you can use any background stamp that you would like. I also used the new Doily 3D embossing folder from Tim Holtz and Sizzix. I wanted to add a little bow, and so I used the From the Vault Christmas bow die. And if you don't have this, you can of course find any substitutes that you would like for this make. But these are the things I use because these are the things that I had on hand. Because we had the new Distress Color Mini set come out, set number 17 come out this last week, I decided to go ahead and stay with that color scheme. And so I got out the oxides in those 4 colors. And earlier in the week, I had made this card using another background stamp, the linen and mesh background stamp, and using those mini distress inks. And I had quite a few extras left over. And so from some of those that maybe didn't turn out exactly the way I liked, I went ahead and cut the bow from that. You will also need some sort of stamping block and a scoring pad of some sort. I used for this project the smooth side of a piece of Distress watercolor cardstock. And I also am using a brayer today, and you will need some sort of die cutting machine to be able to run the 3D embossing texture fade through it and the thinlit dies. So that's what you'll need to make this very quick table favor. And then you'll need to add a little bit of Easter grass and maybe some goodies for your guests, and you'll be ready to go. So let's get started making this very quick favor. To begin, you want to take your folder and you want to determine which side is going to get the ink and which side is going to be the back side. And so the back side is going to be the one that has the raised crochet. So when you run your finger over it, the crochet should be raised. And the side that you're going to ink should have the crochet as the indentation side. All right. And so this is the side that we're going to put our ink on. I have my paper ready and I have my brayer, and I'm going to use saltwater taffy for this one. So I'm going to run my brayer over it, and I'm going to get some ink on it. Then I'm going to run that over, and it won't be perfect, and that's all right. We're just going to get as much on there as we can. And you can see how the brayer is getting ink on all those little raised areas that go down into the crochet, and that's definitely what we want. But we don't want it to go down into the depression areas because we want the crochet to stay white. So that's why we're trying the brayer for this, to try and get a lot of ink on, but to still keep those depressions ink free. All right, now we're going to run it through a die cut machine, and so we're going to put this paper on this side. I'm going to wet the paper, and I wet the paper on the back side, the raised side, and I need this to cover this end. So because this is a regular 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece, I'm going to go ahead and put this in a little bit, and then I'm going to close this. And you can see that the paper does go out over that crocheted edge, which is definitely what I want. I'm going to go run this through my machine 3 times for 3D. All right, so when I open it, you can see where the paper was, and you can see that I have now embossed that crochet is still white. We have that beautiful saltwater taffy on there. You can see that it's not perfectly smooth, and that's fine. Actually, we're going to be cutting this part off anyway, so it won't really matter. But I'm going to go ahead and pull that off, and then I'm going to go clean this off because we're going to be using this folder again with this piece. I know that sounds strange, but that's what we're going to do. The other thing we're going to do is I want to make sure this is nice and dry. For the next step, I wanted to add a little interest to the saltwater taffy color and kind of make what would be the background, to me, like tablecloth or something that's underneath the doily. I wanted to give it a little more interest. It's pretty interesting, you know, with the kind of distressed variations in there. And that is probably enough, but I thought it would be fun to add just a little bit more kind of texture and interest. To add the interest, we're going to end up stamping the Lumberjack plaid onto the depression side of the doily texture fade. So this was the side, remember, where the crochet was the depression side and not the raised side. And we're going to go ahead and stamp on that. Remember? So you'll see that this is kind of thin. So we're going to try and get it as close as we can to that edge up there so that it looks like we have a plaid background. Let's go ahead and try that. All right, and I'm using the oxide for abandoned coral as well. And hopefully this won't be too dark, but it will just give us a little bit of interest in texture. I hope it'll be dark enough to add a little bit of some interest anyway. All right, so it looks like I have that completely covered. And now I'm going to get ready and all right, that looks pretty good. So if I hold it up, you can see that on all the raised background areas, we have our ink. And now to get this to work, we're going to take this, and remember, we've already embossed this, but what that allows us to do is that we can lay the embossing down. And do you see that when I get it lined up on that raised area, here, how it's a raised area, I can line this up and I can kind of push it until, see how it snaps in. And so now I can hold it there. I can gently fold this over. And you can even see the plaid going onto the piece. We're going to run it through again. All right, so let's do the reveal together. I haven't seen it yet because it's stuck to that side, so I'm going to go ahead and grab it and pull it off. Actually, that looks pretty good. So if you look, you can see that we got the stamping in the depressed areas, but not really on here, except for just a couple of little pieces. It looks like it might have gotten on there, but really you can't tell because there are those depressed areas in between. And so it doesn't really stand out that we got some on the crochet. So I think that looks really good, and that's a lot of fun. So I'm going to dry it, and then we're going to the next step. For the next step, we are going to get ready to cut around this to make the cone, but the cone needs to be square. The other thing that we need to keep in mind is that you can cut it and make it square so that it can make a cone, but you have to have something for this edge to attach to. So we need an extra little flap on this side so that when we roll it up, we can attach this, adhere it to a little flap that will be on the inside. So we are going to measure over to, this is 4 1/4. All right, And so we want this to be 4 1/4, but if you look, we are in by just what is that, an 1/8 of an inch. So we're going to go to 4 1/4. Is that 3/8? 4 3/8. We are going to score it there. Okay, and then I want it to fold in just a little bit, so I'm actually going to go over about, I don't know if that's a 1/2 inch or not, but go over about a 1/2 inch. If it's a little bit more, that's fine too. Okay, so now those are my lines. And I'm going to get ready to start fussy cutting. I'm going to trim off this extra 1/2 inch here that I don't need. And then I'm going to start fussy cutting around this area. And as you can see, we'll have this corner left. All right, there we have it. So you can see I didn't cut around all the little doodads, because really this is going to be something that's going to be on a table that people are going to glance at. So you do not have to, spend hours fussy cutting. Just get the basic shape. And here is that area that we made for the flap for the inside, so that when we roll it up, we'll be attaching it like that. But as you can see, when I went to roll it up, the bottom of the cone is a little funky. And so we need to take care of that. So we're going to take our scissors and we are going to cut up a little bit so that as we fold in, see how that now can kind of, you can work with it to get it to fold under. And then there you go. So see how that works. And again, you don't have to make it perfect, but you want to get it over to that, there we go, that folded line. And we're going to adhere it just like that. So I have my double-sided tape. I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. So it's nice and sticky. And then I am going to do my best to get this to fold right over. And then I have my thumb going inside. You can use a bone folder to go inside. Make sure that you get that pressed down. And then also kind of squeezing that so it makes more of a rounded shape instead of really square on that side. Okay, so if you wanted, like I said, you could have it so that that shorter side, the deeper side is on the front, like I did with this one. And what's really holding it down are the chocolates that I stuck down in the bottom. There is what I had holding it. So see how it stays nice and flat. And then you can do whatever you want. If you want to cut out a little flower, or like I did where I used kind of some coordinating colors, from some of my mess ups to make a bow that you would stick on there. You can do, I have some of these out here. So, you could stick some of these from the bunny games kind of along there, might be fun. If you wanted to put a couple of those on there. Eggs, whatever it is that you might want to do. If I were you, I wouldn't go crazy, since these are just going to be on a table. I'm going to put them on, the plates on the table. So I felt like a bow was enough that would tie in all the colors that are going to be on the table. So that's very quickly how you make a little Easter cone. This could also be a little May Day basket if you wanted to hang some ribbon from the sides here and then fill it with flowers to hang on someone's. Does anybody still do that? The May Day tradition where you hang the little cone of flowers on someone's door and ring the doorbell and run away. I know everybody has rings now, so they'll see who it is, but regardless, you could make these for May Day baskets as well. Anyway, there is just a quick little Easter make that I was having fun putting together, and I thought you might enjoy seeing how to do this as well. So I hope that you all have a wonderful day tomorrow and that you enjoy celebrating the risen Savior. So thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel, and you know what to do. If you have any questions, go ahead and stop by my blog, and you can click that little section in the right that says contact, and I will be glad to answer any questions to the best of my ability. I hope you have a crafty day, my friends.